Hey guys, it's Ellen Brock, novel editor. Today I'm going to talk about writing the middle of your novel. A lot of writers struggle with the middle of the novel. They don't know what should go there, or they start writing it and it's kind of boring, the story seems to meander, or maybe they feel like they're just introducing random obstacles and conflicts just to make the story take longer. So why does this happen? Why is the middle so hard to write? Usually the issue is a lot more complicated than just the middle is slow or the writer just needs to brainstorm new ideas to fill up the middle of the book. Usually this is a problem with how the writer is conceiving plot structure to begin with. I blame, at least in part, some of the education we have about story writing. A lot of the time in school we're told, set up the goal, then put some obstacles in the way of that goal, and then have the character either achieve or fail to achieve the goal. And that might work great in 5th grade English class, but when you're looking at a novel, usually, not all the time, but usually that's too simple. It's too basic, and the story is going to be a lot more complicated than that. If you set up the story goal at the beginning of the novel so the character knows what they're trying to achieve, basically what the climax is going to entail, at least in part, so they know who they're going to fight or they know what they're trying to obtain. If they know the basic goal at the beginning of the story and you put them on the right path at the beginning of the story so they know the goal and they're heading appropriately towards that goal, you're going to have a really hard time sustaining an entire novel-length work. So there are a couple of ways you can address this problem. You can give your character a different goal at the beginning of the story, one that is not the primary goal of the novel, or you can put the character on the wrong path so they know the goal but they're not heading in the right direction towards that goal. Most characters do not know the story goal at the beginning of the novel. They have a goal at the beginning of the story, but it's not the goal. It's not the main goal of the novel. For example, Harry Potter doesn't know that he's going to fight Voldemort at the beginning of the story. If he knew that at the beginning of the story, it would have become a very different novel, because instead of casually getting his supplies and getting on the train and making friends and playing Quidditch, he would have been directly training and preparing for his fight with Voldemort. All of that potential for the fun setup and the introduction into the world would have been vastly different. Another example is Fight Club. At the beginning of Fight Club, the narrator is not intending to create a fight club or Project Mayhem. He's just trying to cure his insomnia. So he has a goal to cure his insomnia, but it's not the goal. If he had the goal to create the Fight Club, to create Project Mayhem, it would have been a very different story, and it would have progressed a lot faster. So you can get the sense of why, if you were to introduce the main goal straight away, how that would contract the story. If Harry knew that he needed to fight Voldemort, most of the setup wouldn't really make sense, or would have been a lot faster paced and would have had a different focus. There are stories where the main goal is set up at the beginning of the story. This is fairly common in mysteries or thrillers where the protagonist will start investigating the murderer or the crime pretty early on, so they know what they're trying to achieve basically from the beginning. In stories where the main goal is set up at the beginning, typically what happens is the character is on the wrong path. So the character is either following the wrong suspect or following incorrect clues, or maybe something happens so that they were following the right clues, but some event causes them to need to take a new tactics. So their stepping stone goals, the goals that are going to lead to the big main story goal, change at several points in the novel to create twists and turns and to make the story more exciting. So rather than just having a direct straight line from knowing what the goal is to logical steps to get towards that goal, the character might head in one direction and find out that they're completely wrong and have to turn back and completely rethink their entire plan. And that can serve the same function of creating a more complicated story. What doesn't work is putting your character on the right path with the right goal. There should be something that your character is doing wrong, or some event that causes the previously correct path to become the wrong path. If your character is on the right path and they know the correct goal from the beginning, you're really left with nothing other than delays just to slow them down, to stretch out the story. You're also going to run into a lack of twists and turns and interesting dynamic plot points because basically the whole story is laid out in front of the reader. The reader knows what the goal is, the character is moving towards that goal. All the reader needs to do is basically just wait until the character gets there. That's not very exciting. It doesn't really pull the reader into the story, and that's when you can end up with a very tedious, boring, dragging sort of middle. So to summarize, if you don't know what should happen in the middle of your novel, or you've written the middle and it seems kind of boring or meandering, chances are the story is just too simple and you need to add more complexity. Either your character should have a different goal at the beginning of the novel, they should be on the wrong path at the beginning of the novel, or they should be on the right path, but the right path becomes the wrong path because of some sort of plot event. This will add a lot more complexity to your story, it will make it more exciting and dynamic, and it will help you to create more plot points so that you're not stuck with so much empty space in the middle of your novel, so much space that you have to figure out something to fill up. It just makes the whole writing process a lot easier, and it makes the story a lot stronger. I really hope this video helped you to strengthen the middle of your novels. Tomorrow I'll be making another video about writing the middle of your novel, so if you're still struggling, come back and check that out. This video was part of my novel bootcamp series. I'll be back with more videos the rest of this week, as well as 3 videos next week. I'll also be hosting a query critique on my blog. If you want to check that out, the link is in the description. Happy writing, guys. They want to see you. Come here. Come here. Tobe, say hi. Say hi, it's me, Toby. Say hi.